Hello students, today I am going to talk about the macromineral sulfur. Sources of sulfur are mainly sulfur containing amino acids like cysteine, cysteine and methionine. Generally proteins contain about 1% of sulfur by weight. Inorganic sulfates of sodium, potassium, magnesium though available in food are not utilized. There is no specific daily requirement of sulfur. Adequate protein intake supplies sufficient amount of sulfur to meet the body needs. Distribution and fate of sulfur. Total body sulfur is about 15 gram. This occurs mainly in the side chains of sulfur containing amino acids of protein molecules. Sulfur in blood is present in two forms, inorganic sulfates and organic sulfur. Inorganic sulfate constitutes about zero point 0.1 to 1 mg per deciliter, produced mainly by protein catabolism. Organic sulfur consists of neutral sulfur and ethereal sulfates. Neutral sulfur constitutes about 2.2 to 4 mg per deciliter. For example, sulfur containing amino acid and their metabolites like taurine, mercaptans, and ethyl sulfides. Ethereal sulfates constitutes about zero point 0.1 to 1.5 mg per deciliter. For example, detoxified aromatic compounds like indoxyl and scatoxyl sulfates. In body tissues, sulfur occurs largely in proteins and to the smaller extent in mucopolysaccharides, sulfolipids, some vitamins and their derivatives such as biotin, thiamine, thiamine pyrophosphate, coenzyme A, and high energy sulfur compounds like S-adenosylmethionine, PEPs or phosphoadenosine phosphosulfate, and acyl coenzyme A. Excretion of sulfur. All sulfur groups are oxidized in liver to sulfate group and excreted in urine. Total sulfur in urine is 1 gram per day. It contains three categories. Inorganic sulfates constitutes 80% of total excretion. It is proportional to the protein intake. Ethereal sulfate, also called conjugated sulfate, constitute about 10% of urinary sulfur. Neutral sulfur or unoxidized sulfur constitutes 10%. Sulfur containing organic compounds such as amino acid, thiocyanates, and urochrome constitute this fraction. Sulfur is also lost from the body in bile, hair, and nails. Biochemical functions of sulfur. Sulfur has a role in stabilization of protein structure. Sulfur containing amino acids form the disulfide linkage and sulfhydryl groups and participate in stabilizing secondary, tertiary, and quaternary structures of many proteins like insulin and immunoglobulin and structures like cartilage, bone, keratin of hair, nail, etc. It has a role in as a part of sulfhydryl enzymes. Sulfhydryl or thiol enzymes such as microsomal HNG coenzyme reductase and cytosolic glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase glutathione depend on the free SH group at their active sites for their actions. Sulfur has a role in methyl transfer reactions or transmethylations. Sulfur containing amino acid methionine as S-adenosine methionine or active methionine is involved in transmethylation reactions. It has a role in tissue oxidoreductions also. Many enzymes of electron transport chains have iron sulfur proteins as essential components. An important compound known as phosphoadenosine phosphosulfate or PEPs or active sulfate is produced from sulfate. First, adenosine moiety of ATP takes up sulfate group to form inorganic pyrophosphate and adenosine 5' phosphosulfate catalyzed by the enzyme ATP sulfurylase. Then it gets phosphorylated to form ADP and adenosine 3' phosphate 5' phosphosulfate. So this active sulfate is utilized for several reactions like synthesis of glycosaminoglycans and detoxification mechanisms. Sulfur has a role in detoxification of the foreign molecules to our body known as xenobiotics. Many xenobiotics including carcinogens, drugs, pesticides, industrial pollutants and food adulterants are detoxified in the body using sulfur containing compounds. For example, sulfations of phenols and indols, methylations of quinoline, acetylations of the anti-tubercular drug isoniazid, etc. Sulfur is needed for thioesterification reactions. For example, SH group of coenzyme A is used in cleaving the carbon-carbon bond in acetoacetyl coenzyme A by thiolysis to release acetyl coenzyme A molecules. Sulfur is present in some important vitamins like thiamine, biotin, lipoic acid, and coenzyme A of pantothenic acid. Sulfur is also present in some important compounds like heparin, chondroitin sulfate, glutathione, and taurocholic acid. So this is all about sulfur. Thank you.